からか静かに諦めていたこの胸の奥情熱がまだここに残っているのなら美しさなんて人それぞれ違う人と比べるなんてナンセンスだ広くていつだって希望に溢れてる美しさなんて人それぞれ違う人と比べるなんてナンセンスだ信じるのは自分自身自由を望むことをやめないでやめないで何を言われようと何があっても信じるの変われる時はそんなに多くはないいつからか静かに諦めていたこの胸の奥情熱がまだここに残っているのなら美しさなんて人それぞれ違う人と比べるなんてナンセンスだ世界は広くていい
Hello, I'm Kay. I run a small consulting company for Japanese local government. My business mainly covers the inbound tourism from overseas through filming and pop culture business. One partner, Kitakyushu Film Commission, so-called KFC, is my main client, and I'm their agent in Singapore. Maybe some of you are wondering what KFC is. KFC is a part of Kitakyushu city government, and it is oldest and most powerful film commission in Japan. Their main duty is to increase the tourists, companies, and new residents from overseas through supporting the filmmakers from all over the world. Details of Kitakyushu and KFC will be explained later on. Anyway, in my business with KFC and these filmmakers, I'm a marketing officer, liaison officer, coordinator, fixer in recce and shootings. And as you can see on the stage, we have all these most experienced filmmakers in Singapore. And you can also see the SCAPE staff here. They all have one passion in common, that is contribution to the future Singapore filming industry. That passion united us and made today's event come true. This is a very good chance for young filmmakers to learn directly from the most experienced ones. I hope you will enjoy today's event. Let me introduce today's speaker briefly. You can find more details in the slide later on if you want. The first one is film director of Zawei Films, Khoo. As you know, he's the most experienced film director in Singapore. He's an award-winning filmmaker and a cultural medallion recipient. He is recognized as a person who revived the Singapore film industry and also as the first Singaporean who had his film invited to major film festivals such as Toronto, Busan, and Cannes. He directed many films like Be With Me, Tatsumi, Ramente, and more. He will share his knowledge in filming with us through a virtual recce in Kitakyushu City today. The second speaker will be the producer of Zawei Films, Fong Cheng. She's the most experienced producer in Singapore filming industry. She started her career producing TV commercials in 1995 and started concentrating on movies in 2001 and joined Zawei Films. She's been working with Eric and other directors under Zawei Films for 20 years, and those major films by Zawei, like Be With Me, In the Room, Ramente, were produced by Fong Cheng. She'll have a presentation based on her film producing experience today. The third speaker will be producer of August Pictures, Chow. With his passionate commitment to produce high-quality dramas, August Pictures has won many international awards. Whiton have been working with Sam and Media Corp, and the drama The Driver was produced by him. Sam and Whiton will make presentation based on their actual experience in Kitakyushu. The next one is the film director of Outsider Pictures, Sam Loh. He has more than 20 years of film directing experience. You must check his femme fatale trilogy that includes Lantern and Sealab, and also his new horror film, Hellhole. Currently, he is a freelance film director who works regularly with August Pictures in MediaCorp dramas. The MediaCorp drama The Driver was directed by Sam and filmed in Kitakyushu City in year 2019. And the last speaker will be the sound director of Muse Private Limited, Kazz Sato. He was born in Japan, but has lived in Singapore for nearly 40 years. He's one of the most trusted sound directors by Sam and Eric, and they have worked together in many projects for a long time. You can find his recent works in a feature film, The Late Night Ride, being screened now. He's also my buddy to support KFC's activities in Singapore. And today, he will talk about sound-related matters in recce and shooting. Okay, now I'm providing you with some information on Kitakyushu and KFC. Kitakyushu is in the southern part of Japan. It's a part of Fukuoka Prefecture. The population of the city is slightly less than 1 million. It is considered as a very big city in Japan. The city is facing the Japan Sea in the north side, and the southern part of the city is surrounded by the mountain. So in the city, you get to see lots of natures in every 4 seasons. The city was an industrial area during the wartime, and then during wartime they were making steels for battleships and fighter aircraft. And even after the war, the industry was very popular there, and even now you will get to see lots of the big factories there. The city has long history as a front door to the main island, Honshu, that includes Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. Naturally, city developed itself in commerce. It also has an international port, which started its operation in 1899 for trading with overseas countries. As a result of the historical and geographic conditions, Kitakyushu City became a very unique city with all different kinds of buildings and atmospheres. Some are retro Western buildings, some are industrial buildings, and some are traditional Japanese buildings, which include a castle and its Japanese city. The city is called a city of movie shooting in Japan. In fact, it is one of the most popular cities for movie and drama shootings. It is not only because we can find wide variety of buildings there, but also because of the very strong support from the local residents and the film commission members. For example, one of the Japanese movies filmed in Kitakyushu deployed 3,000 extra for one-day shooting, closing the main commercial street for more than 12 hours. They even had a bomb explosion scene that blows off the main signboard of the biggest department store. This project wouldn't have come through without the support from the local residents and the film commission members. I also want to highlight easy and quick travels between each shooting locations. The city has a well-developed highway system that enables us to travel from one location to another within 20 minutes by car. There are also plenty of hotels with affordable rate for your crew, and of course, we have a big variety of food. It is nice and cheap. Let's take a look at the testimony from the actors who had a shooting in Kitakyushu. They are the actors for White Thong and Sam's drama, The Driver.
我觉得是一个非常漂亮、风景非常好，然后气温非常凉爽的一个国家。我觉得整个节奏就比较休闲吧，就比较 relax。
只觉得那一间花店 ，Jessica 的那一间花店是一个平行宇宙，一个很神秘的空间，因为它就是一个日本视觉跟氛围的一个花店，然后。 我们在里面总共碰到了4次，然后这4次恰恰就像写文章一样的起承转合。对，第一次买花的巧遇，然后第2次出现的时候就是我在避难，他救了我，第3次就是开始相恋，第4次就是告别，所以它就像一年4季一样，人的氛围都很友善，然后包括我们这一次有 Kitakyushu 的一些日方的。 协助人员他们都非常的热情，甚至自己还有下来演出，然后到后来大家都好像变得像朋友或者是家人。那我觉得在要离开的那1、2天，其实心里特别难受，因为你知道说，这一趟不晓得什么时候会再去跟他们合作得到这样子。
Now you can see some sample photos of Kitakyushu scenery. The first one is the symbol of Kitakyushu City, Kokura Castle. Kokura Castle, and it's Japanese garden. Next slide, please. There are two big bridges in Kitakyushu City. One is Common Bridge, which is connecting Kitakyushu City with Honshu Island. And the other one is Wakato Ohashi Bridge. The bridge looks beautiful in the nighttime, especially because of the red lightings. And now let's take a look at the nature in Kitakyushu. One is the beach in Kitakyushu, and the right one is a Hiraodai limestone plateau. Sugao waterfall and the Senbutsu cave. And it's a typical autumn leaves in Kitakyushu. Kitakyushu has lots of mountains and trees, so you will get to see the beautiful autumn leaves in the autumn time. And the right one is the Haruyoshi Megane Bridge. And Majikawa in Kitakyushu, and we have a few reservoirs in Kitakyushu as well. And this is one of the biggest factories in Kitakyushu. It's a Kokura Industrial Park. And as I said, in Kitakyushu we'll see lots of different kind of buildings, and then this is Mojiko Retro Area show. You will see lots of Western style buildings. And it's a wind power generator and a former beer factory. And the left one is the Tanga Market. It's a typical wet market street in Japan. And the right one is the central Kokura area, Kokura JL station. And it's about nightlife, odenya, and izakaya. Okay, it's time for the first video conference with Kitakyushu Film Commission. I believe the guys are ready over there. This part will be led by Eric and Kazz.
Check. Hello? Okay. So, I'd like to thank KCK and KFC to help me with this virtual recce. I have a deep fascination for Japan, and my previous film, Ramente, was shot in Japan, and I'm thinking about my next feature film also to be in Japan. And there are certain locations that I'm looking for, and I need very much the orange autumn leaves, and also a beach area, and a certain sort of like small Japanese town.
すいません、正文さん、荒木さん、カメラの向きを、90度、逆時計回りに回転させていただけますか。今逆さまになりました。はい、大丈夫です。ありがとうございます。
Cool.
Sorry, Eric.
No worries. Hello. How's it going over there? Is it nice and cold? Kazz? You want to ask him, is it nice and cold?
そちらは寒いですか。
こちら寒いですね。風が強いです。
Very strong wind.
Very strong wind. Okay, cool. So, yeah, when he's ready, let's start going the recce.
OK。では、今どちらにいるか教えていただけますか？
私から荒木から大丈夫ですかね。
はい、お願いします。
はい。私北九州の西の方にあります若松区で、北九州で一番夕日が綺麗と言われている、遠見ヶ花というところに来ております。
はい、少々お待ちください。They are in Tomigahama, which is the west side of the Kitakyushu, and which is known for the best sunset.
Right.
Any question you want to ask?
Basically, I didn't know it was going to be so late.
Sorry?
It's kind of dark, huh?
Kind of dark, yes.
But
It's
yeah, I mean, it looks good. Yeah, give me more of a pan. Any cliffs around there? Any
Sorry?
cliffs or caves?
Please.
Yeah.
荒木さん、これは崖の近くにあるんですよね。
崖の近くです。とても危ないところです。
It's very close to the cliff, so it's very dangerous, he says.
Right. But would it be possible to film around the cliff?
そちらで撮影することは可能ですか？
こちら撮影可能です。今、先ほども結婚式の写真を撮っているカップルがおりました。
It's possible. And just before this, there were this couple taking photo for their wedding.
Right.
荒木さん、すみません。何ですかね。カメラを横にしてもらえますか？なんだろ
Can I see more of like the sand?
下は砂ですか？それとも、岩ですか？
ここは砂からできている石ですね。
砂からできている石。
So not so sand. It's a rock.
It's a rock.
But more rock than sand.
Oh, yeah.
Why rock?
カメラの回転を、外すをしてもらえますか？今縦長になってるんですよね。
縦長。ちょっとお待ちください。
はい。
So at this time, right? Do we have like a lot of people that come visit here, or nobody really comes here because it's cold and it's not much sand? You know?
今のような時期の寒い時期っていうのは、ここには、多くの人がいますか？それともあまり人がいない環境で撮影はできますか？
寒い時期はほとんど人がいません。
はい。When it's cold, you hardly see people.
Right. So like during summertime, right? Do they go there? What do they do? Do they surf? Is there any waves?
カメラ、前の方が良かったので戻していただけますか？はい、ありがとうございます。
すいません。
いえいえ。エリック監督から今質問があったんですけれども、
はい。
夏は、観光客が来たり、サーフィンとかやったりするような場所ですか？
ここは海沿いが岩場ですので、魚釣りをする人や観光客だけですね。サーフィンできる場所はこの後2カ所目でご紹介します。
はい、ありがとうございます。Okay, so it's a place very rocky, so there are more fishing people than surfing, and they will take us to surfing place after this.
Okay, but I like this field. It's very beautiful.
とても美しいですとエリック監督がおっしゃってます。
ありがとうございます。
And I would like to see the other one, please. The beach.
次のところに切り替えることは可能ですか？
今から移動しますので、次もう一人現場に行っている方の先に、ご紹介していただければと思います。
はい、承知いたしました。Can you switch to the other camera? Oh, nice. ゆいなさん、こんにちは。
こんにちは、ゆいなです。
今どちらにいらっしゃいますか？
今、門司区っていうところにある白野植物公園にいます。
They are at Mojiku area. Okay, I think you know this better. Yeah, you come in as and when.
Each spot in Kitakyushu. So here is like a big forest, but just a park.
But basically, we are here for the autumn leaves.
Right.
ゆいな、もうちょっと森に入っていこうか。
Because if we film there next year, right, and I essentially need all the trees to be orange, right? So if there's no sort of proper indication as to when the orange leaves are going to be there, then it'd be quite dangerous, no?
ゆいなさん、
はい。
監督は、もう紅葉がすべてにもう広がったようなシーンを、考えているそうなんですけれども、
はい。
そういう場合はいつ頃行ったらいいかとか、時期のことはわかりますか？
紅葉はだいたい11月下旬頃が一番ピークですね。
The peak of the red leaves is towards the end of the November.
Right. And how cold is it then?
How cold?
How cold?
その頃には、外では何度ぐらいになりますか？
でも結構寒いので、ダウンジャケットがいるぐらい寒いです。
It will be really cold, so you need down jacket.
Right. So okay, if we say like around maybe November 20th, it would be all orange.
11月の、20日以降とかであれば全部真っ赤になってると考えて良いでしょうか？
はい、大丈夫です。
Right, that's right.
Cool. Okay. Well, since it's not orange, I think we've seen enough.
I think the other guy is still moving.
Okay, go to the beach. Right. Well, just take a little stroll.
Right. ゆいなさん、
はい。
今秋の虫は鳴いてます
あ、
か？
今鳥が鳴いてますね。
鳥が鳴いてますか？まだ虫は鳴いてない感じですか？
そうですね。まだ虫はもうちょっと時間が経ったら出てくると思います。
もうちょっと日が暮れてきたらってことです。はい、わかりました。I just asked her if she hears any autumn insect calling, and she says it's still early in the day, so once it gets darker, she should hear it more.
Have you been there, Kazz?
This I don't think so. Kay, we didn't go there, right? Where's Kay? Kay,
Kay's run away.
never mind. I don't think we went here. Yeah.
You wanna ask any?
Do you want to talk to them? You didn't go. Okay. So, yeah, but it's the full mountain of the kind of leaf which turns red towards the end of the November.
ゆいなさん、小泉です。
はい。
今ひょっとしてイヤホンとか使ってます？
いや、何も使ってないです。
使ってないですか？
はい。
会場から自然の音があんまり聞こえないというちょっと指摘がございまして。
今すごい静かなんですよ。
虫の声もしないですもんね。秋ですからね。
そうですね。
わかりました。OK です。
はい。
So I guess we can take seat and watch.
Yeah. I was hoping for orange leaves.
ゆいなさん、これから他に、違った景色というような感じは見られるんでしょうか？
またちょっと別の、ここの公園でですか？
はい。
ちょっとお待ちくださいね。
はい。Yeah, they got the gimbal for this event. Yeah. Good. It's good for sound. I can add insects, but remove is difficult. Yeah, cicada. It's on. Yeah.
江南植物公園にご来園いただき、ありがとうございます。5時になりましたので、閉園とさせていただきます。
There's announced in the park.
忘れ物のないように。
5 p.m.
ま
in
た、
Japan.
ゴミなどは
Close soon.
持ち帰りくださるよ
Do not litter
うお
and
願いいた
bring
しま
your
す。
garbage back.
また、駐車場も5時で閉まりますので、ご注意ください。
The car park will be closed at
本日
5
は
p.m. as well, so be
平内植
careful
物
about
公
that.
園にご来園いただき、ありがとうございました。またの日のご来園は、
ゆいなさん、今、気温は何度ぐらいですか？
気温は18とかですかね。
わかりました。
はい。
About 18 degrees Celsius in Japan right now. Yeah, prior to this, Shu was telling me that this summer was very, very hot summer. So the leaves turns later than the usual.
I have an idea next year, right? I mean, like how hot the summer's gonna be, then whether it's gonna be later.
Right.
Get the schedule
At this place? In general or at this place?
in general.
In general, okay. Do you have
Same as cherry blossom, it is kind of unpredictable when it is really happening. So you got to monitor the temperature over there, the climate over there.
Because like these trees don't have any leaves anymore. It's almost like winter trees. So it won't be a situation
Like
like
some of the trees are already bought up. No
and
leaves
no more
are
leaves.
out.
This looks bad.
This is more for winter maybe. Depends on what kind of plant it
from the
is.
park?
For example, Eric, these trees have no leaves now, right? Some of the trees losing all the leaves in the autumn, but some of the trees still have the leaves and it turns brown.
Yeah, we do have like
Yeah,
a lot of green.
right. So that depends on what kind of tree it is.
Yeah. So I mean, again, when you look at all those trees, before like end of November,
Yeah.
it should be all old.
Yes, correct.
a bird.
And how long will the leaves remain orange?
ゆりなさん、
はい。
秋の紅葉って
はい。
春から終わるぐらいまで大体どれぐらいまで続きます？冬になると
そうですね
もちろん葉っぱ全部落ちると思うんだけど、それまで。
多分、1週間、ピークからもう1週間ぐらいしたらっていう感じですかね。
Once it reaches its peak, it stays on only for about a week. It says.
ありがとうよ。はい、聞いたよ。
次の。ゆりなさん、
はい。
ありがとうございました。以上で大丈夫です。
はーい。
じゃあこの後上田さんの Q&A の方移りますけどよろしいでしょうか。
Okay, so as you guys just saw, due to Eric's request, he wanted to see the red colored leaves in the woods, and that was the park, natural park. Unfortunately, it was very hot summer this year, so the leaves to turn red was slower than usual. So that's why we saw those greeneries instead of red leaves. So and also this year they had a long, how do I say, rainy season. So hot summer then long rainy season. So it's actually very, just like the day of the cherry blossom bloom, it's very difficult to predict when. So you would want to take that in consideration when you are planning for shoot in Japan.
こんにちは。あれデモ中。上田さん今映ってますよ。Sorry, the guys are very busy always. You know, they're now working on 4 films at the same time in Kitakyushu City.
I think we can go back to the slide.
兄さんの忙しいっぷりがよくわかります。Sorry, just give us a minute. In the second, video.
Well, I guess it's too early to ask for any Q&A, but do you have any? Thank you.
Then I have a question. Have you ever heard of Kitakyushu City? No, right? What about Fukuoka Prefecture? Have you ever heard of the name? Fukuoka or Kitakyushu? Anybody went there before? We have a direct flight by Singapore Airlines, JAL no more, maybe ANA as well, from Singapore. It takes about 6 hours plus. It's quite convenient. And then from Fukuoka Airport to Kitakyushu City, you got to take transportation. That takes about 45 minutes. So there's no question. You have no question?
And also, as you saw, the first place was the lighthouse, and we went there. The lighthouse is very very windy, and once it's windy, she said it's about 18 degrees, but it don't feel like just 18. It's much colder than that. So yeah, you better be prepared to shoot there. There's nothing to block the wind. It's really flat and lighthouse and the sea. So yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
Okay. There'll be the second part of the video conference with Kitakyushu. But before that, let's welcome Fong Cheng and Thong for the presentation.
I think what you have seen is an important aspect of production, which is going on recce. But I don't think you should be doing what we are doing, like asking questions on the spot when you're at location, especially for an overseas shoot. I feel basically, by the time you get to the location, all the questions should be asked already. Yeah, so like, oh, okay, if the trees are not green, then maybe we shouldn't do the recce now. That we should do it further down the road. So for me, I think so let me briefly put some of the items that we usually go through as a producer when we plan for overseas shoot. So there are like flights, accommodation, transportation, like stuff like this, like you would look into when you go on a holiday, but principle the same thing, because you're bringing people over, so you have to look into them. You have to decide if you want to bring equipment or props, whether it's even cheaper to rent it there. Again, those are considerations you can look into. And of course, like local cast, extras that you might have to hire. Yeah, and then of course, the important thing about important people like translators, very crucial when you are there. Just you have to ask if you have numbers where you have enough of them, because communication is a very important aspect when you shoot overseas. Okay, the next one, next slide please. Okay, then very important are your locations there. You have to make sure that your shooting permits are being approved, you get all your permissions. And of course, in the case of shooting in Japan, Kay has advised that maybe we can buy some souvenirs from Singapore, because it's a form of courtesy to say hello and then give them something. So these are local customs that you can look into. So for me, I think it seems like a very daunting list. There are so many things to look into, so many things that you have to take care of. But I feel that if you have enough preparation, you do enough homework, and you have a good team behind you, shooting overseas can be very fulfilling and exciting, experience. Okay, maybe we can do the next slide. Yeah, so I think in general, there are a few things to look out for when you shoot overseas. I think basically it's just the feedback. Yeah. So decision making is very important during this process. You need to know, what you want and what you need, and to be very clear that what you're looking out for. Like Eric is saying, yes, this beach, I need to do surfing. So they need to look for a place where surfing can actually be done. Or if you have leaves, the autumn leaves, these are visuals that you need. So remember to always talk to your creatives, because with that, then you can be very focused on what you're looking for, right? Okay. Next, I think a production partner overseas is also, I think it's a lifesaver, you know. So, because this person is vital, and he will help you to plan and manage the whole production process. It'll be good if you can spend time, get to know this person. Ask yourself, is this person answering your questions? He should be somebody who is reliable and not just say yes to everything that you say, because that's not very safe in that sense. Yeah. And to help yourself, I think your brief to your coordinator is very important. It should be clear, and again, provide as much information and details, because that will help him to help you achieve your goals. Okay. And I also want to stress research. Once you have kind of have a vision of what you're looking for, I think it's important for you to go back and do more homework, because like for example, for me as a producer, I want this trip or this production trip to be budget efficient. So how do I go around doing it? So I would have to going back to that list, like, oh, should I bring equipment over? What are the restrictions? How much luggage can I carry? If I go through customs, if I bring all this equipment, would I be stopped? Like for certain countries, there are forms that you need to fill, like Kane and all that stuff. If not, there's no way you can bring your equipment out of the country. So these are research that you need to do, and then because you don't want you don't be stuck, when you're leaving the country or coming back to Singapore, and you find out, hey, I cannot bring all my equipment back. Okay, and so this is where your foreign partner is very important, because you need to bring him into this discussion, and then he will help you make those decisions. And and by now you have know that indecisiveness can sometimes lead to hesitation, and that might cost you time, and that will lead you to maybe spend more money than you should. Okay. And of course, I think the last 2 points, they are, it's very obvious when you're on set and working with people overseas. Communication, you have to be very clear about what you want, and sometimes it's difficult because of course we speak to our coordinator in English, and he might be the only one on set that does so. So you have to figure out how to then get across to everybody on set what you need. And I feel that when you're shooting overseas, you shouldn't be shy about asking questions. If you're not sure, please, go and ask and make sure. Do not assume anything, because making assumptions can be dangerous, especially when you only find out about things on set. This could lead to miscommunication, and also at the same time it's just going to screw up the shoot, which you don't want, right? So then of course if you're going overseas, sometimes there's just so many things that's happening at the same time, that you're just trying to fix things, trying to provide answers. But remember to also keep your own crew in the loop, because sometimes it's like, oh yeah, you troubleshooting, but then you forget that, hey, your own crew needs to know what's going on. So yeah, keep everybody in the loop. I think the last, one of those things that we also have to be aware is that is work culture. So you have to adjust your mindset. Not everybody works the way Singaporeans do. So in terms of like pacing, what people do on set, it might be very different. So expectations wise, I think you need to adjust. Yeah. And of course, I think the last one for me is, of course, we don't want any emergencies to, or unforeseen incidents to happen, but you need to stay prepared. So always get a good insurance coverage, even if you're just like 2-3 people going overseas, because you never know if there's just going to be medical emergencies, what's going to happen. So always be covered. And of course, the other thing is have handy phone numbers on hand. It's like, Singapore Embassy or Consulate, because if something happens, at least you know who to reach out to. So I think in general, those are the things I would suggest to look out for when you're planning for a shoot overseas. So other than that, I think I'll leave the rest to Thong, who is actually shot in Kitakyushu, and he will share his experiences.
For the introduction. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. First of all, I'm Thong from August Pictures. I will share with you my experience filming in Kitakyushu a few years back. Sorry, I took out my mask. Yeah. Before that, let's take a look at a video on the places that we shot in Kitakyushu. Thank you. Yeah. Let's go to the first slide. Yeah. Okay, so you can tell from the video, actually, Kitakyushu is a very beautiful place. It has a number of nice sceneries, and there's natural sceneries. There's also a very nice urban city locations. And in fact, Kitakyushu is one of the places that we have filmed before that I really, really enjoy it because it's a beautiful memory for me. Okay, but before that, why did we go Kitakyushu and film there, and how did it happen, and what exactly attracted us there? Sorry for the echo. Okay, so in the first place, it happened about 4 years ago. I think it's about 2017. At that time, we haven't had any drama project on yet, and we don't even have plans to go overseas to film. So it was by chance that we got to know, me and Sam got to know about this Kitakyushu Film Commission recce grant and production grant. So it was through Kazz and K, we get to know a bit more about it. So at that time, we have a small project that is a film that we wanted to shoot, but we haven't decided where to shoot, whether it's in Singapore or overseas. But the grant came in, and it was a recce grant. Because of all the grant that I know, based on my own knowledge, that is most of it is usually production grant. That means you go there and shoot, it will subsidize part of it. But I have never really heard of someone who will subsidize or sponsor a recce trip for you. So this is very rare and very new. So once we heard that, we decided to, okay, why not we go on to Kitakyushu to take a look at the place and decide if we want to shoot there. And this is one of the very interesting thing about the recce grant that's offered by Kitakyushu. That is, you go there and film, you go there and recce, but at that time we are told that there's no obligation for us to go back and film. But as a responsible filmmaker or whoever want to tap on the grant, I think prior to application, they have to assess your project. I mean, this is very normal because no one will give you free money, right? They still have to assess your project, and then to assess its project potential, and secondly, also your track record of your company, and also individually as a filmmaker or director. So this is one of the very big reasons why we go there. There's no obligation because we are not sure about our plan, whether we go there and shoot or not. So we go. That's what attracted me in the first place, the word no obligation. But as a filmmaker, you must also, if you must have a serious intent to go there and shoot and film. If this is the ultimate goal, if you don't have, I think then you might have to really think about it, because I think at the end of the day, we still need to be fair to both parties, whether as a filmmaker or also to the film commission itself. So we go to the next page. So at this recce, right, there's a few things that I think personally is very important. You have some kind of overseas shoot that you intend to do. First of all, I think it's better for you to be on the ground, to have a better sense of the filming locations that you're looking at. You need to assess the visuals, whether it fits into your story. You need to know the aesthetic, the feel and mood. You need to feel how the location is on the spot. You see whether it gives you any kind of inspiration, whether it will evoke or inspire you to have more visuals, images, or imagination of the place of how you want to shoot it. Because I think that is very important. And then whether is it relevant to your story. So if you go to see a lot of places and it's not relevant to your story, then there's no point. But Kitakyushu is very interesting because it fit a lot of our intent of what we want to shoot, whether it's a natural scenery or it is a city. It's a good recce location for us. Okay. So secondly, very important for this trip, you need to understand the team or the people that you are likely going to work with for any overseas trip, whether it's a fixer or the locals who help you. For instance, you want to rent a place, a cafe or a house, things like that. You need to have a sense of the team that you're going to work with, because very important, before you go during this recce trip, you must make full use of it to talk to them, to understand, to know that they really know what you're looking for and whether they can meet your needs and whether you can get the most out of it. Let's say you have any doubts or questions, you need to clarify on the spot. I think that is very, very important, because one mistake that you make, right, or you have any doubt or question that you don't bring it up right now, it will become a very costly mistake problem for you, because overseas, right, you will run one day, that costs a lot of money. So the next thing, that is also the realistic assessment on the ground to see what are the resources that's available, what you can do and cannot do overseas. Because every location, every places you go, they have their own rules and regulations. For instance, you want to fly a drone over the city area, over certain places or important location, you need to check that. I believe you guys have remember a few years back there's a Singapore crew that filmed in Myanmar that was caught. I think there's some issue with the permit location. So wherever you go, you need to know the yes and no, what you should and shouldn't do. You need to respect the local rules and regulation, and then culture, whatever things you need to find out as much as you can for any overseas shoot. Or this is the best time for you to do during the recce. Okay, go to the next stage. So at the end of this trip, right, we find the recce trip very important, valuable, and also one of the deciding factor, the main reason why I decided to shoot in Kitakyushu for my action drama Drivers. Before that, Driver, we have a backstory. It was supposed to be filmed in Amsterdam, but after this recce ride, I decided to move it to Japan, to Kitakyushu, because the recce trip gave me a lot of very good, positive things about the city, and then I can visualize and to see what are the things that is going to happen if I go there and film, the goodness of it. So in short, right, this is some of the reasons why I decided to film in Kitakyushu. Number one, it is a very friendly and charming city for me, because Kitakyushu it's not a very overcrowded city, and then to me, to a certain extent, is a rather quiet city, which is very ideal for filming. For instance, if you film, right, there's not many passerby or locals, and they will stop by, and then they will affect your production and take a look at your camera to ask you what you do, what you did. In fact, it's a bit like Holland Village for me in Singapore. So you have beautiful scenery, nice neighborhood, and then quiet and good for sound, good for everything, traffic control, all those things. And that's one of the reasons why I think it is good. Yeah.
So we need to move for the second.
So the other one is I think it's like a mag.
Can we? Okay.
For you.
Yeah, okay. ゆなさん、
聞こえます。すいません。
いえいえ。荒木さん先の方がいいですかね。
そうですね。荒木さん先の方が。
はい、わかりました。
はい。
荒木さんよろしくお願いします。
はい、よろしくお願いします。
これはどちらですか？
こちら北九州で一番綺麗なビーチの岩屋海水浴場に来ています。
はい、They are at the most beautiful beach in Kitakyushu. 壁紙かと思ったって言ってます。
先ほど夕日が沈む瞬間は本当に綺麗で、たくさんの人が見に来ていました。
Just now the sun was setting. It was even more beautiful, and there were a lot of people who were watching just sun goes. Mhm. 今の時期でもサーフィンをしている人っていますか？
サーフィンをしている人は今の時期は少ないですね。ただ、やはり、海を見に来る人はとても多いです。
Not a lot of people who's surfing at this time because it's getting colder, but there are people who comes to see the setting sun. 1970年代に、もうすでに、こちらの海岸でサーフィンとかは、やっていたとか分かりますか？
すいません、まだその頃生まれてないのでちょっとわからないですね。
Wasn't born yet in 70s, so he has no idea. とても美しいロケーションだと思うと。あともう一人こちらのサム監督から、これは北九州のどこら辺に方角的にどこら辺に当たるビーチなのかという質問が。
これはもう北九州の一番西側になります。
At all time, is it? Because in summer, I'm sure. 夏の海水浴時期とかは、出店みたいなものは出たりしますか？
こちらは夏は本当にたくさんの人で賑わっていて、
はい、
今映っている建物が海の家っていう、休憩所ですとか、レストランがある建物になってます。
お酒は飲めますか？
お酒も売ってます。
Yes,
海沿いにはたくさん
that's the place where there is drink. Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah. 脚本に、近くにある飲み屋が出てくるそうなので、そこを使わせていただければできるということです。
ありがとうございます。ぜひぜひ使ってください。ここも先日本当に映画のロケをしたばかりで、周りの方々も協力的で、とてもいいロケ地になってます。
Just a few days ago, a few weeks ago or so, there were a shoot going on here, and the people around here are very cooperative.
Sounds like my sort of place.
Oh, cool, cool. エリック監督が自分が好きそうな場所だと言ってます。
But in terms of like the waves, right? When do you get really big waves? What sort of time of day? Like waves for surfers?
The season, you mean?
Yeah, because like right now, right, it looks quite flat.
Calm, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. 荒木さん。
はい。
今海がすごくないでるというかおとなしい感じなんですけれども、
はい、
サーフィンに、合うような、高い波が来る時期とかは分かりますか？
そうですね。こちらの海はもともとそんなに波は高くはないんですけど、ですね。冬の方が波は高くなります。
ああ、なるほど。
カズ。
はい。
カズ。
はい。聞こえます。
このビーチのこのエリアっていうのは、朝方の波が良くて、朝方みんなサーフィンに来るっていう感じですね。で、特に、はい、冬に限定していい波が入ってくる場所です。
はい、わかりました。A lot of surfers do surf in the early morning.
Morning.
Yeah, and especially winter time, they have better waves. Yeah.
Ah, okay, cool. Yes. Then he can act for me. Yeah. Good, good. Lovely. Happy with
Great.
it. Thank you.
エリック監督、とても気に入ったそうです。
ありがとうございます。嬉しいです。
Thank you very much. I'm very happy. He
Lovely.
says. では、ユイナさんに、代わっていただきましょうか。Can we change to はい。Can we change to ユイナ？
はい、いま
はい、ありがとうございます。これはどちらですか？
これはさっきの植物公園と一緒の門司区っていうところの清滝エリアです。
清滝エリア。
はい。
It's in the same area as the nature park just now.
So this would be.
住宅街ですか？
ごめんなさい、もう一回。
住宅街ですか？
そうです、そうです。この小さい路地の中に住宅街があります。
Is that a restaurant on the left?
左は、レストランですか？
これは角打ちです。
角打ち。
That looks kind of nice. Can we go inside? Can we go inside the standing bar?
中に入れますか？
中にはちょっと入れません。
の時間。
外からちょっと見せてもらえればいいな。
もうちょっとじゃあ外から見せていただけますか？
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
So it's a standing bar. You don't get to sit.
So you don't stay very long.
So it's like a British pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cute. Right. So this is part of the culture, like standing bars. Right. Very cool. Okay, let's go lower down.
はい、じゃあ坂を、またお願いします。
はい。
Looks kind of creepy.
ちょっと怖い感じですねって。
Any ghost stories over there?
何かお化けの話とかここら辺であったりしますか？
全然ないです。
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. So these buildings, I mean, when were they built? How old are they?
ここら辺の建物は、何年ぐらい経ってる感じでしょうか？
ここら辺の建物って何年ぐらい？戦前ぐらいです。
Before war.
And if we were to do some filming on this stretch of road, right? Can we get, like, say, permission to go inside some of these households?
Like how she is going now.
Yeah, that's right. But rather than just on the path, to move inside the house, go inside.
Move into the house.
Yes.
撮影の時に、今、ゆいなさんが、撮ってらっしゃるようにしながら、そのまま家の中に入るような撮影はできるでしょうかと。
全然家の許可さえ取れば大丈夫だと思います。
はい。As long as we get the permission from the house itself,
Correct.
No problem.
And I think they would be quite receptive.
Right. いい感じで、撮ることができそうだとのことです。
おお。
で、そちらの、家の方々は許可は、出してくれそうな感じはありますか？
そうですね。はい。割と人たちが住んでいるので。
Shot that we're going down, we're going to take it like I'm a ghost. So I'm flying around, and then I'm going to go inside the household and see what the families are going through.
Right.
Yeah.
今考えてる、脚本の中に、霊が霊の視点で 漂っていきながら家の中に入って家の、家族を見るっていうシーンがあるので、そこにとても良さそうだとおっしゃってます。
おー、よかったです。ありがとうございます。
I'm glad to know that, she said.
Yeah, lovely. No, I mean, I think overall the recce has been very, very successful. I get an idea of the space, the place. Unfortunately, no orange leaves left.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really want to see the orange leaves. But other than that, I mean, the beach setting was beautiful, right?
All right.
And the rocky sort of cliff area was possible.
Right.
Yeah, I'm happy.
ビーチも、灯台のところも、今のところもとてもいい感じで嬉しいと監督がおっしゃってます。ただちょっと紅葉に間に合わなかったのはちょっと残念だったと。
So Kazz, please
早すぎたんです。
thank the team. You know, very happy that they've done all this for us.
はい、監督から、ゆいなさんにくれぐれも礼を、つけてほしいと言われております。
ありがとうございます。こちらこそ。
And I'd love it, like, if we're there next year, maybe we can go to the standing bar and have a few drinks.
自分たちがそちらに行くときには先ほどの角打ちで一緒に飲みましょうとおっしゃってます。
ぜひ私の
Yeah, she'd
家も
like to.
Arigato.
She lives nearby.
Oh, excellent.
No, I don't think so. Okay.
じゃあちょっとQ&A の方移りますんで、上田さんお願いします。お疲れ様です。
お疲れ様です。
Do you guys have any question about the locations or procedure, whatever you want to know? KFC. He's the boss of KFC. Oh, it's me. Not me. Can you switch to Shu?
Hello?
Hello.
Shu?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
I can hear. Hi.
It's been a while. I met you like maybe, I don't know, 3 years ago, right?
Yes.
You're also a friend of Yutaka Tachibana.
Yes.
That's right. And Fong Cheng wants to say hello.
Hi, Shu. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I hear
Yeah,
you're very
long
busy
time
now.
no see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hope to see you back
finally.
in Singapore soon.
Yes. I believe it.
But thank you very much. You know, I really like what I've seen, but I was just hoping for the orange leaves.
Yes.
But maybe if it's safer, like next year, like 30th of November, go to the film, you know. Because I really need, you know, the whole sort of area with lush orange leaves.
Yes.
紅葉だけがですね、残念だったけど、まあでもタイミングの違いなんでしょうがないですよね。
今年は特にちょっと暑かったんで遅れてます、紅葉が。
So as Kazz explained, because of the climate over
the summer,
yeah, autumn leaves came late. It's kind of
so I mean the good thing is, okay, like come next year, right? Let's say during summer, right? If the summer is not so hot or whatever, it could be earlier.
Right.
At least we get an indication, right, for the scheduling.
Yeah, correct. So that's why, as Fong Cheng said, we need a communication. Okay, we got to always talk with KFC. Hey, how's the temperature there? How's the climate there now? So that we can predict when the cherry blossom is coming or autumn leaf is coming. Right?
Yep.
ね、
Sounds good.
KFC との連携、連絡、ほうれん草を密にして、じゃあいつ、紅葉が来るのか、桜の満開が来るのかっていうのをやっていかないといけないですねと。
そうですね。桜よりも紅葉の時期を狙うのは本当に年々難しくなっていってます。
Actually, even harder than the cherry blossom, it's becoming because of the climate changes.
Right. Because I remember when we were shooting like Ramen Tay also, right? It was really crazy in terms of chasing the cherry blossom, right? I mean, you get like little areas here and there, but it was already like not, like concrete in terms of when they were going to come out.
Right.
And I mean, I think for the most important thing for a shoot and the scheduling, right, we have to zero in on that specific time frame. Because even when you get it, right, it doesn't stay very long. And you want it at full bloom. Yeah.
私からちょっと思いついたというか、気象庁とかそういうところになんでしょうかね、聞いたり問い合わせたりとかはできたりしますか？
もちろんその紅葉の予測っていうのを気象庁がやっていないんですね。
ああ、そうなんですね。
それでもう僕らは常にその昨年見合いで昨年よりも昨年は、どれくらいのタイミングで紅葉した。でそれに対して今年は去年よりもこれくらい気温差があるから早まるだろう遅まるだろうみたいな感じで、我々もその確定じみたことは言えないけれどもなんとか、時期をずらさないようにっていうふうな形で海外の方々とはやり取りをしています。
はい、なるほど。I asked him because Japanese government vote for whether they would announce when the cherry blossom at your location will bloom. So I asked him if there's anything. Yeah, he says unfortunately there's none such, but that's where KFC comes in, and when last year was this way and this year summer was hotter, so they along the way they have they can't be sure, but that they have better guidance than the laymen.
Also because the story, right, that we're working on, I need to feature Obon. Obon is like the 7th month of Japan, right?
Yep.
And I think that's in August.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe zero in there in August, right? Check it out. Also locations, all that, right? And then decide, right, when do we go up for the autumn leaves? At least closer to the date. So if we're there physically in August, they should be able to know, right?
Sorry,
so if we go there in August, right? That means to physically be there. They would already know in August, roughly when
I
the
see.
orange
Right.
I also need to film Obon.
Right, so twice. Yeah.
Okay.
お盆の時期も撮影する必要があるので、8月とかですよね。お盆の時期に撮影に行った時に、は大体の紅葉の時期っていうのは読めるような感じになってるでしょうかという質問です。
日本の気象庁だと3ヶ月の長期予想みたいなのが出るんで。その長期予想に基づいて一定の予想はできると思います。
There are long-term weather forecasts in Japan by officials, which is 3 months. So once that is announced, they can predict it better. Yeah, August to November. So yeah. Right. Oh, okay. Sure, I can ask him. そちらでのお盆は、どのような、習慣がありますか？お焚き上げとか。
そう、まさにお盆前にお墓に行って、先祖の霊をお迎えに行って、で、仏壇にお坊さんに来てもらってお参りをしていただいて、でお盆が明けたらまたお墓に連れていくっていう。
So just before Obon, they'll go to their family grave and get the spirits to their home and get the monk to come to their home and make a prayer. Then at the end of the Obon, do the reverse, go back to the grave. Then, yeah. Yeah. Right. 撮影に適したようななんですかね、精霊流しみたいなものとかそういったことはやったりしますか？
そういう美味しいやつってうちなくて、長崎 うちの町から車で2時間ぐらい行った長崎っていうところではそういうことをやっています。
はい。There's this popular place for river, you know, like the people. That is 2 hours from Kitakyushu, Nagasaki. So unfortunately, their place don't have such special thing.
But Nagasaki is still in the part of Kyushu Island. So if you have time to travel all the way to Nagasaki, yeah, we can do it. We can work with Nagasaki Film Commission as well.
I need some sort of visual thing.
Right. So maybe you can combine all the locations in one package when you're shooting.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, cool. Anything else from the floor? Oh, hang on.
Hi, thank you. I just want to ask, what is it like shooting in winter at Kitakyushu? Winter time.
冬での撮影はどのような感じかとざっくりした質問が。
特にアジアから、おいでになる方々はとても寒いとおっしゃっていて、よくポッケにウイスキーのボトル入れたりしてる人がスタッフがいるぐらい寒いようですけれども、北海道みたいに雪が積もるということはないので、撮影に支障をきたすような寒さではないけれども、雪のシーンを撮りたいってなると少し北九州はフィットしないと思い
ます。It's especially for Asian film crew. They find it really cold, and they keep like whiskey in the pocket, and it's that cold. But it's not like Hokkaido. Because of snow, you need to stop shooting or what. It wouldn't snow. There's pro and con. That means you can't shoot snow scene in Kitakyushu. Yeah, but still, there's no chance that snow will stop your shoot. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
I'd like to ask if KFC only supports like feature films, short films, or do they also support like internet web content?
テレビや映画以外に、インターネットのウェブコンテンツみたいなものも、支援してくださるのでしょうかと。
はい、ウェブコンテンツももちろん支援させていただきます。
Of course. There was someone else?
Are there any specific festivals that are unique to the Kitakyushu area?
Oh, it's going on now. 北九州には、特別な映画祭はありますかという質問です。
実は今年から映画祭を始めようと思っています。で、11月の12、13、14でやるんですけれども、今年は世界的にこういうパンデミックな状況なので、ある意味プレ映画祭のような形にして、来年から本格的に映画祭を育てていきたいなと思っています。
はい。Very good question. 11th, 12th, and 13th of November, they will be doing a pre-film festival this year. Because of the pandemic, they will just do a soft launch first. Then they're thinking of doing the bigger one next year. Culture.
Kitakyushu Pop Culture Festival is organized every year. It's a very big pop culture festival. Actually, it is the biggest one in the western part of Japan. Traditional, in terms of what kind of tradition, like Japanese kimono, geisha stuff?
Own unique. Different regions in Japan will have their own sort of festivals that they will celebrate.
Okay. In terms of traditional Japanese culture, maybe you can look. Of course, Kitakyushu also has a lot of traditional culture there, but actually, KFC is working with another film commission, which is called the Shimonoseki Film Commission. They are next to each other. And then in this Shimonoseki city, they organize a few Japanese traditional festival where you can get to see lots of the geisha style kimono ladies and a lot, you know, the kind of festival which is organized by the Japanese Shinto shrine or sometimes Buddhist shrine or, oh yeah. I hope it makes sense.
I have one last question. Typically, pre-pandemic and pandemic, how many projects do you guys see at KFC
per year.
per year?
1年に何作品ぐらいの支援を行ってますか？
Very good question.
コロナ前まではだいたい100作品ぐらいでした。
Before COVID was about 100. 今はどういう感じ？
そのうち半分が海外作品。
Prior to COVID, half of that 100 was overseas film.
でも今、この状態でも、ほぼ毎日どこかで撮影が行われています、北九州。
Even in this situation, they're still having at least one filming going on in the city every day.
特にネットフリックスみたいなオンライン系の配信系の作品の支援が多いです。
It's getting more and more on-demand projects like Netflix and others here. Any other questions? Yep.
When you look at the film commission and the film projects that you intend to choose to commission, right? What type of content would you say? If you want to do like really messed up film, for example, like what's the content that you lean towards to, in a sense? Yeah.
Oh, okay. 支援を受けるにあたって、何か、こういう映画であってはいけないというような縛りはあったりしますか？
一つだけあって、北九州のことを、嫌いになるような作品はサポートしづらいです。
わかりました。There's only one. If the viewer of your film starts to hate Kitakyushu, then that's the film that they can't support. But that's it.
I think if you can shoot driver, you can check.
We had a lot of violence scenes, and we even had a fighting scene on the street in the residential area, but they still got supported by KFC financially. So it all depends on what you want to express through your stories and through your films, and The most important thing is, later on I'll make a presentation about that part as well, but the most important thing is, through watching your film or drama, how much you can attract the audience with a scene filmed in Kitakyushu. That is a crucial part for the financial support from KFC. Okay.
So to hate is the opposite effect. So.
Any other questions?
How strict are they in granting, like if you have a very good track record, for example? So yeah, like for example, you mentioned that you look at your track record, right? So if let's say you don't have much of like you've not done a feature film before, then how much of a chance do I get to actually get the
今までの作品があんまり多くないような若手の場合は、そのチャンスというか、どれぐらいで考えたらいいのでしょうか。
これまでの経験がもちろんエリックやサムのようにある方々のサポートをすれば僕らは安心だし可能性も大きいけれども、若いクリエイターの方々と一緒に、育っていきたいっていう思いも強く持っている。
Of course, it's safer for them if they work with big shot like Eric or Sam. but they would always want to try to make it happen together with young filmmakers as well. So yeah, they're pretty enthusiastic about it. Yeah.
そうじゃないとこんなイベント開いてないと思う。
If not, I wouldn't do this kind of event.
I add on my experience now. Before we go to KFC, right, we actually haven't had any drama production experience before. Yes, of course, we did docudramas, we did telemovies, all local and not overseas. So it was, I think at the end of the day, it's very important that you have a project that they can see potential of it. And secondly, I think you also need to be sure of what you want, and then you need to be passionate about your stories, your idea. So when you meet, I think whatever application and whatever track record is formalities. But when you meet, you need to convince them through how you see your project, your vision. I think that one is more important.
Any more question, or are we good?
Okay, I have to make a move.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So, Shu, thank you so much.
上田さん、エリックも帰らなくちゃいけないそうです。
Okay.
Right. And all of you are in good hands. Listen more to Sam. 'Cause he's shot there. He knows all the loops, right? And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.上田さん、ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。こちらこそ。皆さんの顔が見れてとても幸せでした。
He's very happy to see you guys via, Zoom, over Zoom. Yeah.
じゃあ上田さん、この後こっちの方ではまたイベントを引き続き行いますんで、今日は本当ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。この声ってみんなに聞こえてるんですよね。
今聞こえてますね。
じゃあちょっと皆さんに挨拶だけしていいですか。
He wants to say hello to you all. じゃあお願いします。
Okay. Thank you so much for creating such a wonderful opportunity for Kitakyushu Film Commission in Kitakyushu City. So when I was young, I grew up in Singapore. So Singapore is my hometown. I'm very honored to be able to take on new possibility for movie shooting with a young creator living in my hometown. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he used to live in Singapore when he was a child, and he went to the Japanese school in Clementi. じゃあ上田さんありがとうございます。
ありがとうございました。
お疲れ様でした。Okay, so we were still in the middle of White Non's speech, so let's go back to that slide.
I'm coming back again.
Sorry, White Non. Always,
Okay.
emergency always happen. As
Okay, we
Fong
go to
Cheng
the
said.
next slide. Next slide. I think you have been through the recce and the Q&A session just now. You have a better idea of how to shoot and what are the things to do in Kitakyushu. So for me, right, it's actually a very friendly and charming city, as I mentioned earlier. And everybody is very supportive of filming. They have a very, KFC is very committed, responsible. And one very important criteria is they care about your productions. I think a lot of times you can work with a lot of people, a lot of fixers, but it's very hard to get people who are very committed and they care for your production. There's a number of requests that we make on the spot. Last minute, we want to shoot this, shoot there. In some countries, they don't allow. And but for KFC, they will always do their best to help you to negotiate the best deal for you. And in fact, with their help, we managed to get a heritage building, a temple. There's a few hundred years to shoot one of the action fighting sequence in it. Without their help, I don't think we will be able to get that, especially if there's a few hundred years old temple. And then The next one is for me, the city it looks like a mega film set and studio because it's a city with natural sceneries, historical building, and then with beautiful stream, waterfalls, cave, everything within the city. And what is very good is it's very accessible. And then from location to location, right, the shortest could be within walking distance, like 2 to 3 minutes, and the longest, furthest, I think is about 30 to 35 minutes. So imagine if you go there and film, you have to run a few locations because you go overseas, you need to maximize your time. With such a city with everything very well connected and within accessible time distance, you can go to a lot of locations. For instance, we shoot right, we can go from a city, then to the beach, then you go back to another city or old buildings. So it is actually very good. Imagine if you go there and film whole day, right? You can save a lot of time. One of the very important criteria that is the traffic condition is very important. A lot of producers, production team, when they went overseas, they tend to forget about this thing about traffic conditions. Because on some cities, the traffic condition can be so bad that you can be stuck there for 2 hours each time through and fro. You wasted 4 hours. Imagine when you finish filming right in Kitakyushu, you can reach your hotel within like 30 minutes or plus minus around there. You can have a good rest after filming like 12 hours or 13, 14 hours. You can go back, have a good rest, have a nice dinner because there's a lot of good shops, restaurants that's operating around the areas. And then you can even go to the hot bath if you have the time. So it makes the whole filming experience very pleasant. And if you feel as if you are working, also traveling. For me, I felt. The location, I think is beautiful, and there's a lot of choices you can see. You can find in Kitakyushu. The other one is one of the reasons why I decided to move my production from Amsterdam to Japan is because it's very near. There's a direct flight from Singapore to Fukuoka, and then from Fukuoka to Kitakyushu is just, I think, 1.5 to 2 hours. Depends on you on the transportation, whether it's a public bus or your own private vehicle. Next is you work directly with KFC because they have representative here, they have K here, and then you can meet them if you have any doubts or questions. You can have a cup of coffee they will answer you directly because you no need to go through another fixer to do a lot of things because K is always based in Singapore, and like Su, who has mentioned just now, he grew up in Singapore, so he knows a lot about Singapore, our culture, also our Singaporeans' way of working, what are our expectations, and then culturally, how are we going to complement each other during the shoot? Because that one is very important, that you need someone who understands how we Singaporeans work as well. And I think for this one, working with KFC is a very nice and pleasant experience for us. So that's basically some of the important reasons personally I felt I wanted to do it in Kitakyushu. One of the reasons is also it's more affordable. Compared to, let's say you film in Kitakyushu and to do a story in Japan, compared to Tokyo and Hokkaido, right? I think Kitakyushu will give you more value for money, or in terms of location, in terms of your food, accommodation, everything there. For instance, having a meal, right, like $8 in Singapore is actually, I think, quite expensive. It's about the price that we're going to pay right now. But you go to Japan, right, the food, the quality, everything is very good. So I think the Singapore cost of living has risen. So it's very comparable right now. I think you go to Japan, you will find the value in it. So these are some of the reasons. Okay, we go to the next slide. So for my Kitakyushu trip, right, based on my story, we plan a 9 days, 8 night trip. We have 3 prep days, which include recce for some of the last minute add-on locations. And that was also the days that we used to go through to rent some equipment. But for me, for this particular production, we take most of the equipment from Singapore because our time is very limited. So I don't want to spend too much time looking for all the cameras, all the equipment, everything. What we rent is the additional lighting for the night shoot. So it's actually, everything is very contained within our own production. So we only have 5 filming days and 1 day for contingency. That's usually the last day. I remember there's a number of scenes that we cannot film because it's too a bit rushed. We have quite a bit of things to do. So we use the last day to do additional aerial shot using the drone. So that was one of those days that we decide to, on the day of leaving Japan, we squeeze everything that within that day. So the production team for us, right, is about 28 of us with 25 crew, including our stunt team, who perform the stunt actions, and 3 cast, including our lead Jessica Liu and Kazz from Taiwan and a child actor. So for the stunt team, right, how we save costs, because it's an action drama, so they are actually the talent for our show as well. So we also get K to be part of our talent because he does the action. If you see just all the video clips, right, there's this tunnel where Sunny is there. One of the stuntmen is actually, I think, K. This is how we save costs. So for us, we get the extra talent and extra talent. We get it from Tokyo. So they either do a domestic flight from Tokyo to Kitakyushu or they take a trip. So we save quite a number of costs. Yeah. So accommodation, we have about 23 rooms. 18 rooms is for our own production team. So 5 rooms are for the Japan talent. So that was about it. And what is very important for me as a producer, because it's not a very big shoot that we had to stay there for a month or 2. So everything is very light and mobile. And it's better that you keep it that way. Because imagine if you rent everything there, right? You have to spend every day or a period of time to rent, check equipment. I think would be quite tiring for us. I think you have to make this choice when you travel and shoot overseas. So the total spending for us for that particular trip, right, is about 100 to 120,000 around there. With about 3 million yen, that's supported by Kitakyushu, KFC, which is about 35,000 Sing dollars. So it's almost about a quarter of the money saved. So imagine if your production, you don't need such a big team like 28 of you, right? Actually, that sum of money actually is quite workable, and I think it's quite attractive. And then I think beside this grant, right, KFC also helped us to secure a lot of locations, transport at a very good rate, and then I'm very grateful and appreciate their effort throughout the whole filming trip. They double up as our drivers. So Sue and the whole team of KFC, I think at that time, they double up as our driver to help us in the production. But of course, you cannot expect they do that for every production. It so happened that they help us for this particular driver drama. So on the whole, right, they actually help us save a lot of costs because they help you to negotiate. This is what I meant by they care for about your production, and then they also know what is your need, and then how to best negotiate something that's suitable for you. Or it's not just about cost. Okay, so we go to the next page. So if you have a chance to watch Driver, our trailer, on YouTube, or you can watch the drama on View, Youku, or Me Watch, you will see the value that it helps to elevate the film, to give it a more sophisticated and polished look, especially when you do action drama. So when the trailer went out, right, when you do this drama, a lot of people was like quite impressed with the location, the scene. They thought we have very high budget, but we don't. So you need to maximize whatever resources that you have. And then if you go to recce, you need to visualize how this particular location, scene, add value, and add value in terms of give you the kind of look and feel that you need if you don't have the budget. You need to visualize and try to look for location that it itself is already very nice, beautiful, with minimum setting. Or I think these are the things, the tips for overseas recce and filming. And this is also a very important tricks that we use for when we film Beijing to Moscow. We don't have an art team, but you look for location that it looks wonderful, stunning, even on its own. This is sharing from my experience. Okay, so that's all for my part for the sharing for Kitakyushu. I will pass it back to Kay.
Okay, thank you, Whiteon. And I'll have some, sorry, let us skip the 10-minute break. If you feel like going to the washroom, please go ahead. But we just continue the presentation. Hey? Yeah. Okay, next presentation is by Sam Loh.
Hi. I think Hello. Okay. I think Whiteon cover quite a bit of what we did in Kitakyushu. I think I'll just show you a clip as a break to look at what we did. So basically this clip shows what we did in Kitakyushu to reveal the backstory of the two characters at the same time through clever editing. So just take a quick look. It's kind of long, but just enjoy.
要是我们一家三口可以一直这样在一起，多好！
老公啊，哪天我不在了，你如果遇到一个适合你的人，你会不会跟他在一起？
宝贝啊，你乖一点，不要让妈咪太辛苦，知道吗？
你先回答我，你会？
除非说我这样做，
那就够了。
不过你干嘛？出去。
金妮。
出去。
金妮。
出去。
你没事吧？你又梦见你妻子了？
说了什么？
你一直在叫他的名字。
对不起。
你应该不是普通人吧？
徐子欣也是日本黑社会的人。
石原静香，日本人，出生于东京。他的父亲是石原真，竹心社的老大。当时竹心社和建议的上田组织发生了斗争，死了很多人。上田组织就派建议去刺杀石原真。石原真想要逃难，可是石原静香不肯。为了保护女儿，她留下来了。当晚就被建议杀了。
你到底是谁？我连你是什么人，我也不知道。
9 o'clock, I think, or 7 o'clock. Yeah, so at 9 o'clock or 7 o'clock? 9, right? Yeah, at 9 o'clock, right, we're supposed to be at outside the temple. When they say wrap, right, Japanese time is exactly outside. We can't be even inside the temple. So we were in a rush to shoot this scene. And because this scene is so important, I actually focus more time on this scene. And the fighting scenes, I have to make a quick judgment decision to shorten all the fighting scenes.
4岁的时候，我的爸妈带着我偷渡到日本。
Very important in Japan, especially when we go for shoot early in the morning, right? If your call time is 7:30, by 7 or 7:15, you need to be downstairs waiting to get ready to go. Because Shu and KFC people are there waiting for you every morning, even though they work very late at night, right? They'll be there. They'll be the first to be there. Yeah. So punctuality is key when you work in Japan.
原野にも娘が2人いた。牧野の息子、伊藤の息子はまた腹の中だ。お前のせいであいつらは伊藤と子供たちに会えないだぞ。
石原真死后，帮派内的元老都想推荐石原静香这场。
Japan is we got all the props in Japan, like the guns, right? We bought over there. We didn't bring any guns over, so we went to the gun shop and buy some guns.
叫沈宗一郎，进，射击。他不管是眼神，还是声音，还是样貌，几乎跟素心长得一模一样。
但是他不是素心，就算他再像，他也不是。
我不知道，他们谁是谁，我都快搞不懂。
他的资料全部都是空白的，他的身份真的很
Video
可疑，
clip
而且1年前他
够了，他是我。
So this scene was shot during magic hour, and I only have also like half an hour to shoot this scene. So we waited for this actor to arrive on set because he came from, I think, Japan or Tokyo or something. And then once he touched down, right, he comes straight here and then we start shooting. So I only have half hour for this magic hour scene. We shot it real quick. So I'll just briefly say how we got to know KFC in the first place. It's actually through Kazz that I heard about KFC. And at a point in time, I actually have an idea for a film, which is a love story. And then when I saw the brochure from KFC, right, like what you all saw just now, all the beautiful pictures and everything, I thought of a story to be shot there. But eventually it didn't happen, and Driver happened, which I'm very glad that we also went back to shoot there. Yep. So that was how it all began. And then I think when you look at the brochures, right, when you're overseas, when you look at the pictures, everything will look very nice to you. But be very selective about what you want to shoot, and work out what you and where you want to film based on the photos, even before you go for the recce. So you have to work out a list of things, a list of places that you want to see even before the recce. And with that, you pass the information to K and to KFC. Then they will arrange the recce based on what you need. Of course, they can add on other things along the way, but be prepared to have that list before you even go overseas. And then during shooting, right, the only constant I can say is change. So be very, very flexible when you are shooting. It's not compromising, but you should always, like what Wai Thong say, make the best of what you get on location. So for example, one location, the bridge area, right, I can shoot maybe 3 or 4 scenes around there. Instead of just focusing on the bridge, you can, when your camera turn around, right, you can actually shoot a few other scenes looking at other scenery. So that's how you can actually maximize your time, you know, and your money by not running around too much. Even though it's very convenient to run around, but be very aware of that when you're shooting overseas. It will help a lot, and the producer will thank you for that. Okay, another unforeseen things that can happen is during recce. I think I just want to bring up a small thing that Kay and us, we were wrecking, and then I think the van scraped another vehicle while we were doing recce. So I think the custom or not, the rule is that when an accident happens, right, you need to settle it within the hour. You cannot say we exchange papers and then we settle it with insurance company. So there and then you have to settle. And then because of that, then it set us back about an hour or 2 hours just waiting for it to happen. So we have to go back to the hotel and then wait for it to happen. So things like that will always happen on shoot. Just be prepared and very open-minded when you shoot overseas. And then what you saw just now, like the tunnel, the beach, the flower shop, the restaurant, and the cemetery, right? I think they all add vistas and value to the production. And it's all because of Khoo from KFC, right? His own personal connections with these places that we are able to secure more than what we want during the recce. Okay, and finally, and be mindful of different cultures, I think, which I've touched before, and respect the different working methods. So, what Okay, explain clearly what you need. It may mean different things to different people. For example, there's some, it's very easy to get a miscomm if you don't articulate exactly what you want to say or what you want to do on even before the shoot. So be very, very clear. Make sure your team, your fixer knows what to do. And lastly, I think before I hand over to Kazz, right, I just want to say what may be okay to you may be rude to someone. For example, I found out from Kazz that it's not very rude to use the word jab, because we use like jab quite a lot, right? But it's actually very rude to use that. So I found that out from Kazz. And with that, I'll just pass the mic to Kazz to finish up.
Thanks, Sam. Thank you, Sam. This jab thing, right? I know you guys would just think it's just a short form, right? But in Japan, it's used otherwise. If you go to Wikipedia, you can spend like half an hour to read that long article. So there's some historical background, and it's both parties' ignorance. Japanese don't know Singaporean would use jab as just a short form, but vice versa, Singaporean wouldn't know it's rude, right? So I think it was good to let him know before he goes to Japan and start calling everybody jab, jab, jab. So yeah. So that kind of, for me, since I'm a sound person, right, you may be wondering what's got the sound guy do with recce. But for me, I feel more about the bridging between Japan and Singapore. And it happened to be this year is SJ55. Have you heard about it? Yeah, Singapore-Japan diplomatic relationship for we are celebrating 55th anniversary. So I think it would be nice if you guys could go to Japan to shoot and all that. And if I were to add from my profession, you may notice it, me asking KFC side videographer if they hear insects. And in Singapore, they say there's no season. I think there are two though. Anthony Chan made a film called Wet Season. That means wet season and hot season. So 2 seasons in Singapore. And Japan, for the film technique of so-called day for night, you would shoot night scene in the day and treat color grading and stuff. That happens, right? You should be careful about the sound because, night ambience will be different from day. Same goes for, let's say, winter for summer. If you shoot in summer pretending it's winter and you have a lot of cicada on your voice, then you can't use it anymore. You need to ADR it, which means more budget. So when you recce, it's a good idea to recce at the exact same time of the year as when you are shooting, and same time of the day as well. As you just saw, the sun goes away so early in Japan, right? And it's not only this time. Winter, the day gets shorter and shorter. So knowing that is also very important. So, yeah, you can always consult, how long of the day shoot can I do at this time of the year or blah, blah, blah. So he would know, from what time to what time sun is available. You can have more time for night shots, for sure, yeah. So that's about it. I can add to, everyone contributed here today. Thank you for coming down.
Okay, guys, we are actually behind the schedule by 20 to 30 minutes. Just give us 30 minutes. But if you have anything to do, because it's a Saturday night, so you can just go ahead. Okay. Anyway, I have some information to introduce to you, especially the support from Kitakyushu Film Commission. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, basically, we have two kinds of financial support from KFC. One is for the recce, and the other one is for the shooting trip. For example, okay, this is just an example for Whiteton's case, Whiteton and Sam's case for the drama, The Driver. Okay, 1 million Japanese yen, which is equivalent to 12.5 thousand Singapore dollars, were paid to cover the cost for the accommodation, flight, local transportation, and the meals. And then the second part is for the shooting. So 3 million Japanese yen, that is equivalent to 37.5 thousand Singapore dollars, were paid to cover the part of the overall production cost. And then the third one is not the direct financial support from KFC, but it's a discount, special discount from the local partners of KFC. As you can see, we got a discount for the accommodation and meeting room, local transportation, rental equipment, and others. And the total amount of the discount came to 22.4 thousand Singapore dollars. So if you see the total amount of the impact by the support from KFC and also the discount from the local partners, the amount comes to 72.4 thousand Singapore dollars. And then this amount does not include the manpower from KFC and also the extra. So in terms of that, working with KFC, your benefit is more than this amount. Okay, next part, please. I know. Okay. Apart from the financial support, we can get a physical support from KFC that includes like clearing the what should I say, roadblock? No, not roadblock. They can do road clearance during shootings, and then they can work with other government agencies like fire and rescue, police stations, PUB, whatever, if it's necessary during shooting. And then most important part is they're working with a lot of extras, volunteers. They have over 6,000 registered volunteers as extras. And on top of it, they have maybe a few hundred local partners, mostly like companies. Then they can let us use their location for shooting for free of charge. And then there's no need for permission. Okay. Now, some legal matters. Walkie-talkie and drones. Basically, you cannot import and use your own walkie-talkies in Japan from Singapore because of the difference of the license-free frequency allocated by the government. In Singapore, 446 megahertz is allocated for license-free walkie-talkie for our use during the shooting by the IMDA, but that specific frequency is allocated to some other usage in Japan. So you cannot use the same walkie-talkie in Japan. In a sense, you must rent walkie-talkies in Japan when you're shooting. Then the cost is about $20 per set per day. Next, drones. In Singapore, most of the professional drones weighs more than 250 grams. Like my one is 249. It's a DJI Mini 2. And then even for this DJI Mini 2, 249 grams, we are not allowed to fly in Japan without advanced registration. In Japan, any drone weighs more than 200 grams and above must be registered before the first flight. And then this regulation will be tightened to 100 grams and above in June 2022. So that means that you cannot fly most of your professional drones in Japan. Then my recommendation is always hiring the professional drone operator in Japan. That will cost you about $2,500 per day for professional quality. Then the next one. Oh, no. Okay. I have no slide for this, but it's about driving in Japan. You can drive rental cars and rental motorcycles in Japan as far as you have a valid international license issued by the Automobile Association of Singapore. They can issue it on the day in the office. Then the fee is $20 per license. But I do not recommend you to drive over there in Japan because many of the roads in Japan is narrow, unlike Singapore one, especially in the central area. And I myself caused a minor traffic accident during some shooting, and I wasted their time by 1 or 2 hours, right? I went through all the troublesome procedure for insurance and police report. Yeah. So, yeah, anyway, yeah, I do not recommend you to drive over there. Yeah, okay, that's all for my part.
I really appreciate you guys for staying, and I think I can sense the passion, and I think you really are keen, right? So I think I don't want to speak too much, but otherwise, Kazz is definitely somebody that you will love to get to know. So please get his contact. I believe his email address is listed here. Maybe we can share Kazz's email. So please contact him, and I'm looking forward to a lot of productions, a lot of works coming up from you, and we can, go shoot in Kitakyushu. And of course, I'm not forgetting Thong and Sam. They are brilliant directors and producers here in Singapore, so please get to know them as well. So with that, I'm just going to leave you with my special thanks. So thank you to Chow Films, to Muse, to August Pictures, Outsider Pictures, and of course, KFC themselves. All right, so thank you so much for staying. I really appreciate that. Okay, so if you can, and at least get to talk to Kazz and all that, okay? And if you don't mind, if you could please just help me do this little survey, okay? I think it's been a long day, but I really, really appreciate you for staying that full 2 to 3 hours. It's the first time we're doing an actual virtual recce to Japan. I hope you kind of like, for a moment, you felt like you travel, I tried to adjust the aircon and make it a bit cold, but, I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you at our programs. Thank you so much.